I wanted to paint this Charmander figure, and for the tail I had to learn how to paint flames. I also had a few other figures I wanted flame effects on, so I decided it was time to learn how to do it. I found this reference photo from a Tale of Painters blog post about how to paint flame. The blog post suggested specific paint colors, but I just mixed up my own from cheap acrylic paints based off of Charmander's flame colors, and I think it worked out well enough for me. You really only need red, orange, yellow, and white to mix up all of the colors. The basic idea is that you paint the entire flame area with a red, then paint smaller and smaller parts with oranges and yellows, finally ending with an almost white at the bottom. Now that you know how to do it, I'll leave you with 10 minutes of me actually doing it for the first time.
Okay, let's make some fire. Fire starts out red, goes down to orange, yellow, and white. So, we'll start out red. And I have three things to put fire on. We have the tops of the tree, the top of this staff, and Charmander's tail. So, let's start with the tail. We're going to cover the whole thing in red. Later, we'll cover parts of it in other colors. And then the tree. Now here I have a couple little spots inside of the trunk. Alright, now let's go for our next color. Okay, there's an orange. We're going to do the tip, leave it red, but below the tip, cover and mix in the orange. I'm going to dry brush a very little bit of that onto this guy, but first I have to dry it out with a hairdryer. Alright, now that this is dry, I'm going to dry brush just a little bit of orange onto the outside of these flames. Let's see. Suppose I can use this color here as well. Alright, now let's go to our next color, which will have significant amounts of yellow. Still orange. I said significant. So we're going to leave a little bit of that reddish orange and go to this very yellow orange down below. Alright, we are also going to coat at least the bottom 2/3 of these guys. But I do want to put a little bit in those knot holes. I'm trying to leave red around the outside and do a little yellow orange in the middle. It's harder to do on interior surfaces like this. Now this guy here I need to dry off. I need to dry all of them off a little bit. Alright, put a little orange in the lower part here. I should say it's a brighter orange than the previous orange I did, which I'm leaving up there. I already have orange on these two, so now it's time to go to yellow. And at this point, I think I'm going to start a new well. Might grab some of that orange in, but we're looking for primarily yellow here. And looks like I grabbed a little too much orange. Primarily yellow. Okay. Trickiest part is getting this in the tiny little interior holes here. Then we can do bottom parts. And we need one more color at the very bottom. It will be primarily white, with just a hint of yellow in it. I do mean a hint. That's the color I want. You dry these out a little bit first though. Alright, let's see if I have enough of this yellowish white. I'm trying to come to a point as I go up these flames on the bottom. Okay, now for this guy, it's got a lot of bumps on it. I'm going to take some of this orange and kind of brush a few embers onto it. But I have to be very careful to get the right end of the brush. Very careful to barely get any on there. So I really need to make sure I'm dry brushing, barely getting it on there. I think that's good. I am going to go with some pure white in tiny little areas. Just a dot. So that's good. Now we need this flame to cast light on his arm, and this flame is going to cast light onto the body. So I am going to do a little bit of dry brushing of orange, and this needs to be extremely light, so it might take me a while to get it enough. Now I'm not dry brushing anything here because his body is going to be colored later. However, I might put a tiny little bit of orange right up there to kind of cover in that white. There we go. this white here could use a little bit of tinting. Put some orange highlights on these marks from the 3D printing, so they look like intentional embers instead of a 3D printing artifact. Alright, this guy's arm looks pretty good there. I think maybe a dash of red? Nah, it's alright, I don't need to do any more on his arm. The shoulder and the horn. Do just a little bit of lighting effects. Okay, let's call it done.